Hey, I'm Connor, and I'm here to give you a quick overview of Omni's MCP server, which lets you plug in Omni wherever you're already using LLMs, like Claude, ChatGPT, and Cursor. Our MCP server goes beyond traditional text-to-SQL approaches because the queries you run via MCP inherit business context and security controls defined in your semantic model in Omni. That means users only see the data that they're allowed to access, and AI responses stay grounded in real-world context that your team has already defined, helping you prevent against hallucinations. To show you how this works, let me walk you through 3 use cases in Claude. Okay, let's say I'm a growth marketing manager and I'm testing a new re-engagement campaign for our closed lost accounts. I'm already using Claude to write copy and brainstorm ideas, so I can just start that work here. I might just say, I want to run a closed lost re-engagement campaign, starting with our top 10 closed lost accounts. Pull those accounts for me. And that account data is in our Salesforce data, which is stored in our data warehouse. So Claude is actually going to use Omni to access that data. It's going to start here by choosing an Omni topic, and a topic is just a curated data set in Omni where people can pull from different tables freely, and you can also use that to curate context for AI, just like we are in this case. Then Claude is going to translate our natural language question into a semantic Omni query. So that's what it's doing here. And then finally, it's going to take that query, run it in Omni, and then give us the results back. So here's a nice little table that it's put together of our top 10 closed lost accounts. And now that I have that, I can actually take the next step since I'm already in Claude, and I could just say, help me draft a HubSpot email campaign for this, and then give me a CSV of these accounts to upload to HubSpot. Okay, awesome. I'm gonna pause the video here since it might take a second to run, and then I'll come back to you when the results are ready. All right, so Claude did a great job drafting an email campaign for me, and it also gave me a CSV that I could directly download and then upload into HubSpot, and also spelled out that campaign strategy for me and gave me some tips for how to run that campaign. So the great thing here is that I didn't have to leave where I'm already doing a lot of my work in Claude. I can brainstorm growth ideas, pull these account lists from my data warehouse, and then generate the campaign, all from one single chat interface. All right, let's walk through another use case. So I'm a product marketer, and often I update our sales enablement docs to reflect recent sales wins. So let me show you how that would work for a fictional SaaS application. So in Claude, I might want to start by reminding myself what the enablement docs say in the first place. And since I have Claude's Google Drive integration set up, I can do that directly here. So I could just say, can you summarize our Q1 enablement doc? We'll give that a second to run, but here it's going to connect to Google Drive. And then it's going to run a search, translating my question into a search to identify the right document. Now it's found the right one. It's going to pull in the text and then write a summary for us. Awesome. So now that I've jogged my memory a bit, I can just say, I want to update this doc with our wins from last quarter. Can you pull an Omni report of those deals? Awesome. This will take a second to reason through, so I'm going to stop the video and I'll come back once those results are in. Okay, so again, that sales data that we asked for is in our data warehouse. So Omni is kind of acting as a bridge between Claude and that data. It first picked the right Omni topic here, it picked this opportunity data set that we have, and then it actually ran a few different queries to narrow in on the data that it wanted, or that I wanted. It first ran a query, it seemed like that query returned empty results, so it was able to reason and try a different approach here, ran a slightly different query, and it figured out that, okay, maybe I need to broaden my actual question here. It found the right opportunities data, and then it was able to specifically ask for deals from this past quarter. Then it actually took the next step and created a whole separate section to add to the Q1 enablement doc, summarizing some of the key wins that we had from the previous quarter. So all this is super helpful as an actual product marketer myself. I'm often using AI as a thought partner for research, so it's great to be able to do that work while also grounding it in real data that comes from Omni without having to switch between a bunch of different tools. For this final example, I want to use AI to do a bit more complicated analysis of my Omni data. So let's say I'm on the revenue operations team and I'm planning ahead for next quarter. I want to get a rough ballpark of next quarter's sales forecast before I go too deep myself. So I can just give AI this super broad task to analyze my data. So I could say, help me build a sales forecast for next quarter based on performance last quarter and open pipeline. We'll give that a sec to run. Since it's a bit complicated, I'll pause the recording again, and then I'm going to come back when it's done running. Okay, so here's the final forecast. It's outputted for us, very thorough. And we can see that it's done a fairly complex chain of questions here. So it went from historical sales performance to open pipeline, and then probability weighted forecast, getting conversion rates, all that good stuff. And it did all that automatically while explaining its reasoning throughout the process. So this is awesome, and I want to share it with some folks on my team. So let's say, I want to give my exec team a high-level view. So roll this into an exec summary. Give that a sec to run. Awesome. I think it's outputting at the bottom of this document, so we'll give that a second to run itself. There we go. Here is this exec summary, a bit shorter and easier to read. So it's helpful to ask Claude to do this multi-step analysis where it can figure out what data I need, run the queries in Omni, store the results, and then put it all together to output this forecast. Of course, for my own purposes, I would want to go much deeper into the weeds here, but for a rough look at next quarter's forecast, this produces something much faster than I could myself. So that's a quick look at a few ways to use Omni's MCP server. There are so many possibilities here, and we're excited to keep building. Omni's MCP server is available today, so if you're interested, please reach out to us. We would love to show you more.